Hey there, folks. This is Dmcjediman. I'm coming to you with another video. Today is a Christmas Eve special because I had an idea for my Christmas video. It ended up being a little too big to do as one video, so I decided, you know what? Let me break it into two parts. I'll air one part Christmas Eve and the other part Christmas Day. So that's what this is. Before I tell you exactly what we're doing here, though, don't forget, if you do like my content, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you stay notified when I upload. Check out my gaming channel sometime if you like video game Let's Plays. I actually have a special episode dropping on the game channel on Christmas as well. Feel free to follow DMC Jedi Man's Den on social media. I'm currently on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Discord with a corrected link. Links, as always, will be in the description below. And I hope everyone out there is having either a very Merry Christmas or an extremely happy holiday. That being said, today's video, I thought it'd be nice to count down my top 12 list of my favorite Christmas TV episodes and specials. Now, originally this was going to be a mixed list of favorite TV specials and movies for Christmas, but each list had around like 13 or 14 entries, and it was hard to pare down, so it's like, well, heck with it. Let me just do two separate videos. So this is the TV special and Christmas episode 1. And keep in mind, this is my list. So this is what speaks to me as my favorites. Now, obviously, some of these won't be on your list. In fact, some of your lists out there might not feature any of my selections. Now, I'm basically going to, tell you guys the name of the episode, what season and episode it is, when it aired originally, give a synopsis, like a brief synopsis, and then, explain why it's on my list. So, starting off in 12th place, because something had to be last on this list, we have Back to the Future, the animated series, Dickens of a Christmas. This was Season 1, Episode 10, and it aired on November 23rd, 1991. In terms of the synopsis, trying to escape the heat in July, the Brown family and Marty decide to travel to London. I don't think I actually wrote the year they traveled to, which is disappointing. The DeLorean keys are henceforth pickpocketed by a ruffian, so they have to retrieve them. There's also a toy shop owner who's thrown into debtor's prison along with Clara, and the guy that throws him in there is Epiphanies Tannen. So obviously Marty has to pretend to be the ghost of Christmas future to get him to change his ways. So obviously, it does have a pretty strong connection to being Christmas, since, Ebenezer Scrooge, Dickens. It's got DeLorean in it. You can't really go too wrong with a holiday episode with a DeLorean. I don't have a lot to say about this one. Like I said, it's where it is for a reason. But it's a fun little watch. If you want something, a little zanier to watch for the holiday season, you might want to watch it. In 11th place, we have The Real Ghostbusters, Xmas Marks the Spot. Now, this was Season 1, Episode 13, and it aired on December 13th, 1986. The Ghostbusters get sent back to 1837 and end up trapping the ghosts of Christmas, thus preventing Scrooge from changing his ways. When they come back to the future, they find it's horribly changed, so they have to go back to change things, and Egon has to go into the containment unit to rescue the ghosts that they trapped. Now, once again, this is on here because, they trap the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and of course, you get to see the Ecto-1. Gotta love the Ectomobile. But I don't really rewatch either of those two very often, like once in a blue moon. up in spot number 10, we have the only foreign episode on this list. But once I say what it is, you'll all be like, yeah, that tracks. Kaizu Sentai Go... Oh. I just realized I didn't have my microphone up here. Sorry for the crap audio at the beginning. So, alright, continuing on. Like I was trying to say, in spot number 10, we have Kaizu Sentai Gokaiger, a lovely Christmas Eve. At least I think it's lovely Christmas Eve. It could be lonely Christmas Eve, but that is episode 44 of Gokaiger, and it dropped on December 25th, 2011. The synopsis for this one is Guy, the silver Gokaiger, gets Luca, the yellow Gokaiger, interested in Christmas. A monster attacks that turns people into dolls. Luca actually lends her morpher, we'll call it. It's actually called a morbite, but lends it to a child who can transform into Gokai Yellow to try and help save the day. The big thing in this, though, is that Guy, who is the sixth ranger on the team, he has an ability to create new ranger forms by combining ones. Like, he did this in a previous episode where he couldn't decide whether to be the silver or gold Go-Onger, which would be the silver or gold RPM Ranger to Power Ranger watchers. So he combined them into a half gold, half silver Ranger form he could use. He also combined all the 6 Ranger keys into like a shield key, but he combines the red Gokaiger key and the green Gokaiger key to make a red and green Ranger called Gokai Christmas. That is fucking awesome. And that is why that episode lands on here. Like, most of the episode I don't really remember, but I definitely remember Gokai Christmas! In spot number 9, we have a direct-to-video entry, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Alpha's Magical Christmas. Now, as I said, this was released only on video. It was, it first debuted in stores on October 19th, 1994, and the synopsis for this one is Alpha sings Christmas carols to children in the command center while the Rangers are helping Santa. Now, this is pretty forgettable in terms of things. Like, it's non-canon, first off. I mean, there are some contradictory things in it. Like, Tommy is in his Green Ranger, outfit and powers when they get teleported to the command center at the end. However, there's also flashback sequences that show him as the White Ranger, as well as Rocky, Adam, and Aisha as the new red, black, and yellow Rangers. So, lots of contradictory things in it. I'm not really big on Christmas carols. The only reason it lands where it does is because Tommy is the Green Ranger. Need I really say anything more? In spot number 8, we have Futurama, Xmas Story. Now, this was Season 2, Episode 4. It dropped on December 19th, 1999. Basically, the Planet Express crew have to battle an evil robot Santa, because apparently Santa was replaced with a robot, it malfunctioned and decided nobody was nice. Although that's not entirely true, because I'm pretty sure, if I remember right in this episode, Zoidberg gets a gift and he uses it to attack Santa. But it's a fun story, and it's so funny at the end where Santa does escape and he's like, I'll be back when you least expect it. Next Xmas! It's like, oh yeah, shocker, we wouldn't expect you to come back the next year. And they do tangle with him a few more times, but the first, encounter with Robot Santa is probably the best. Like, some of the other ones, I know there was one where Bender took over as a Robot Santa for a bit, but that's what lands in the number 8 spot. In number 7, we have Bob's Burgers, Christmas in the Car. This was Season 4, Episode 8, and it aired on December 15th, 2013. And the synopsis is basically the Belchers are being stalked by a psychotic semi-truck driver in a candy cane truck. Now, anybody that knows me well enough knows I love, like horror movies that involve vehicles, and this is straight out of Duel. In fact, some of the scenes in this are shot for shot from Duel. So, gotta love it. It definitely, has a happier ending than Duel, where the truck driver and the Belchers become friends. Well, friendly at the end. I guess I wouldn't really say they're friends, but fun little episode, In spot number 6 is the first of 2 episodes on here that tie into one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. And like I said, this is my list, so this is me saying it's a Christmas movie. It does not affect if you think it is, but this in spot number 6 we have the episode of What If, called What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas. Now, this was Season 2, Episode 3. It dropped on Disney Plus on December 24th, 2023. And it's basically Marvel Die Hard, where the Avengers Tower gets attacked. It was one of the Iron Man villains, if I remember correctly. I'm having a hard time remembering which one it was. It might come to me, but either way, Happy Hogan takes on the role of John McClane, having to go through and try and thwart the people taking over Avengers Tower. Lots of references to Die Hard, and Happy Hogan ends up turning into like a purple Hulk monster by the end of it, which is pretty interesting. It's on here just because of the Die Hard collection. Also in spot number 5 is another Die Hard one, but one I think did it slightly better, which is The Cleveland Show, Die Semi-Hard. This was Season 3, Episode 7, and it aired on December 11th, 2011. And yeah, Cleveland Show, doing the Die Hard. This is basically similar to what Family Guy was doing with their Star Wars parodies. Cleveland Show decided to do a Die Hard one where all of their normal characters play different roles. Like, obviously, Cleveland himself is John McClane. Donna's his, wife Lucy. I believe, if I remember right, Tim the Bear is Hans Gruber. Junior is Al Powell. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember who some of the other characters played. Those are the most important ones, I would say, though, and it has lots of great moments. Like, there's a funny scene where after he, Cleveland picks all the glass out of his feet, he's sitting on the sink. He jumps down, back into more broken glass. And of course, Donna, the whole thing at the end gets saved because she's wearing a wig, and they release the wig. Very, very fun little parody. But, swinging his way into number 4 spot is Darkwing Duck. It's a Wonderful Leaf. This was Season 1, Episode 41, and it aired on December 23rd, 1991. At least that's what the online sources say. I could be wrong on that. Tim or Mike, if either of you are watching, feel free to correct me on that. But the synopsis for this one is Bushroot uses a army of trees to try and steal Christmas from St. Canard. It's got a lot of great moments to it, some great lines like, "That's me," and of course it ends on a potentially dubiously dark note. Like, I know in universe it almost certainly didn't happen, but a lot of us like to think it did, where Tank, the Muddlefoot's bratty young bratty child, gets stuck in the chimney and no episode after this one ever showed Tank again. So I'd like to presumably think that Tank is forever stuck there. Probably nothing but bones now. Unless somebody keeps going up and feeding him and whatnot. And trying to keep him safe during storms and anything. But this is one I actually do watch fairly often. Like, I'd say every 2 to 3 years I will definitely rewatch this one. Coming in at number 3 is American Dad, For Whom the Sleigh Bell Tolls. This was Season 6, Episode 8, and it aired on December 12th, 2010. Now, this actually shares its air date with the next entry, believe it or not. But the synopsis of this one is the Smith family versus Santa. And to elaborate, basically Stan Smith gets Steve Smith a gun, brings him to a parking lot to get some practice, and he ends up shooting Santa, which they think it killed him, but since Santa's magical, it did not. You know, he goes to the North Pole to recuperate, vowing vengeance upon the Smiths. So the Smiths have to try and hide from him. Of course, their plan to hide is foiled by Haley's boyfriend Jeff, who wrote to Santa to tell him where the Smiths and him would be staying because he wants his Christmas presents. And it evolves into a huge battle against Santa and the elves and the Smiths. Roger's dressed up as a hillbilly. You know, there are so many great one-liners, epic moments. There's a wonderful metal version of Carol of the Bells that plays that just sends shivers down your spine. Oh, it is almost the perfect Christmas episode. It is beaten by 2 other ones on my list. I'm not going to reveal much more because obviously, you know, I want people to be able to enjoy these and not have everything ruined for them. So I alluded before that the next entry on the list also dropped on the same day, and that was Family Guy, Road to the North Pole, Season 9, Episode 7. Actually, before I go into that, I should also mention there is a little discrepancy about American Dad's episode. Like, I found conflicting reports. Some claim it's Season 7, Episode 8. Some claimed it's Season 6, Episode 8. I went with Season 6, Episode 8, because that's what IMDb said. Anyway, back to the Family Guy one. So, number 2 on the list is Family Guy, Road to the North Pole, Season 9, Episode 7. As stated before, it also aired on December 12th, 2010. So, 2 of my favorite ones, same day air. And this episode, the synopsis basically is Brian and Stewie take a road trip to find the North Pole, you know, because Stewie feels he was cheated by Santa and wants to enact his vengeance. And when they finally get to the North Pole, they find that things are completely fucked up. Like, the North Pole is like a desolate, waste-producing factory. The elves work themselves until they're blind. They go out into the snow and get eaten by the reindeer. Oh, it is so fucked up. It has a great song called Christmas Time is Killing Us. Highly suggest giving it a listen to. So Brian and Stewie have to take over and be Santa, and spoiler alert, they don't really do too well. I'm not going to ruin what happens, but it is such a great episode. Honestly, if it weren't for my number 1, this would be my number 1. But before I get to my number 1, I do have an honorable mention, because as stated before, the lists were too big, and I pared down as much as I could, but I couldn't quite get rid of one thing from either list, so technically it's a top 13, not a top 12, though, like I said, I'm just going to call it an honorable mention. That is Power Rangers Zeo, A Season to Remember. This was episode 29 of Power Rangers Zeo. It aired on November 27th, 1996, and the synopsis for it is, as the Rangers prepare to celebrate the holidays, Mondo uses the differences between them to try and destroy the Rangers. Now, for the most part, it's actually a pretty forgettable episode. The only reason it even makes an honorable mention for me is the fact that the story is being told by an elderly Tommy and his wife Kat, and their son is hinted at to be a ranger. That is the only reason this makes it to where it does, is because of seeing a glimpse into Tommy's future. That being said, with the honorable mention out of the way, the number one favorite Christmas TV special or episode for me is South Park, Woodland Critter Christmas. This one, first off, if you are easily offended, it will not be for you. It really pulls out all the stops for offensiveness. Now, before I tell you about the synopsis, this was Season 8, Episode 14, and it aired on December 15th, 2004. So, the synopsis for this one is Cartman is telling a Christmas story about Stan Marsh saving a creature, or not saving a creature. Basically, he befriends these woodland critters who are Satanists, and they want to bring about the Antichrist. There's lots of horrible, fucked up things that happen. You know, it's just a roller coaster. There's fun little bits like, you know, Stan not wanting to get involved, and their narrator basically won't shut up until he finally snaps like, all right, I'm going, fuck you! And the ending to it is just so out of nowhere, where, you know, Cartman is telling the story, and at the end he's like, and everybody lived happily ever after, except for Kyle, who died of AIDS 2 weeks later. It's like, holy shit, Cartman! So, definitely not a traditional Christmas thing. Obviously not for those who offend easily, but I find it to be so funny throughout that I just can't help but laugh. Like I said, if this didn't exist, then Road to the North Pole would be number one, and For Whom the Sleigh Bell Tolls would be number two. But that is my list. I hope everyone found it insightful and enjoyable. Maybe you discovered something new you have to check out. Either way, I hope everyone had a great time listening to me on this. And I wish you all a very Merry Christmas Eve. And hopefully you'll join me for the other half of this, which will be the movie one they'll drop tomorrow morning. Till then, Merry Christmas, everybody. Peace.